Hello.
Hello, hi, can
How
you
are
hear
you?
me? I'm good, I'm good. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yes. Yes.
Excellent. Okay, good to see you.
How are you doing?
Very well, thank you. I'm in Vietnam, enjoying myself for almost a year now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
How's the weather there?
great, fantastic. Actually, it's a rain season, but it doesn't rain much, so we
Mm.
enjoy ourselves to the fullest. So,
Yeah, it's the same thing here. Actually, it's raining here. It's a
oh,
raining season. It has just started, actually. It's the end of fall and the beginning of winter.
so does it rain like every day?
No, just like occasionally.
Oh, it's the same here. So I was thinking it's going to rain like whole day for a couple of
Yeah.
weeks, but it doesn't work this way. So.
That's great. So, Lily, I'm so happy to have you here actually in this live streaming. And I usually get guests to speak about one specific topic in which all my followers are interested in. Some of them are beginners, some of them are intermediate. They're looking for better ways to improve their English easily, and they don't want actually to go to language schools or something like that. They just want to learn independently, and they want to make use of all the resources we have now online. So let me start first of all with yeah, tell us about yourself. Tell us something about you. I think most of us, we don't know you, we don't know much about you.
Okay, so I see that people here like to have some shortcuts to difficult things, and I'm an
Yeah.
expert in that. So I'm originally Russian, so I was born and raised in Russia, but I left my hometown and I left Russia when I was, I don't know, when was it? It was in 2013, so quite a long time ago. So and that's when I started to work abroad, and I faced that challenge when my accent was a huge problem for me to be employed as a
You
teacher.
know what? Before you go on, I can't tell from the beginning that you're Russian.
Really?
I couldn't tell, yeah, because normally people from Russia, they're known by their accent. Their accent is pretty known
For sure.
everywhere in the world. If you hear someone from Russia speaking English, you can say, "Oh, he's Russian."
Yeah, actually, that's what happened when I went to China for the first time, and they were like, "You are Russian? Oh, come on! Like Russians don't speak English." I was
Yeah,
like,
they speak
no
English,
way.
but they have an accent. They have like a familiar accent, very familiar accent.
Yes, so and that was a problem for me because, well, many of you probably know that the great value of a teacher, non-native teacher, is ability to translate things to the language of the speaker, right? So I could explain grammar, I could explain other things, and I spoke Chinese, but they really. It's a craze in China about native speakers. They need to be taught by native speakers. Even
Yeah,
though they are not teachers at all,
we'll
it
speak
doesn't
about
matter.
this.
Yeah, so even they are not teachers at all, so they're not qualified, but it's all about the accent. They need that person to be
Yeah.
from there. So, and it became a problem for me, and I started to look for ways of improving my pronunciation. And I had that time when, I was not sure how to say that word correctly so it would sound right. Which accent to choose? Should I choose American accent or British accent, or how should I speak? So I had lots of problems, and I had a very short period of time when I needed to succeed because I got a very good job offer. So I had 3 months and I found that shortcut to get rid of the accent. So I share
Yeah.
it everywhere. So I tell people how I did this, and without really poring over books because I didn't have time for that. I was going to work and I had an hour and a half in subway. And that hour and a half I spent practicing. So that's what I did. And yeah, so I went to live in China. I spent 6 years there. I lived in Beijing, in the capital city, and I tried a great number of jobs. I probably worked in every institution there. So I worked in the universities, in private training centers. I was working in training centers who sent children abroad to study in the United States and the UK. So,
Hmm.
and so I had to work with different curriculums, and I was like, I supposed to be their study supervisor. I supposed to choose those curriculums for them, the most suitable ones. So yeah, that's how I spent those 6 years. I was teaching, 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 like 6 days
Awesome.
a week, sometimes 7 days a week.
Oh,
without
all
days
the
off. Yeah,
yeah,
without
that's
any
pretty hard.
holidays or vacations, like 2 weeks a year, I was able to travel a little bit. So yeah, so now I am working from home. So I travel and work on the go. I'm working online, and I help my students to get rid of their accents too. So that's pretty much me.
That's great, actually. That's a pretty good story of you. You've been through many things actually during your life, and that's kind of awesome, actually, because a teacher is experience. Okay, if a
Yeah.
teacher doesn't have that much experience, then he lacks many things. So let me just. Can you hear me? Can you hear me, Lily? You hear
I
me pretty
can, I
well?
can. Yeah.
Yeah, because some people here are telling me that my voice is being repeated or something. Let me just get my headphones. A minute.
Okay. Yeah, sure. Or maybe it's my problem or something. I have another pair of headphones here. So guys, you just let us know. So whose problem is that? Is like when I speak, or what's the problem? I'm going to solve it.
So
It's
let's
clear.
get my headphones. I'm back. Sorry about that.
It's okay. I have another pair here, so just in case if it's my problem here.
Yeah, okay, now, how's the voice now? Is it
I hear
clearer?
you all right. Everything is perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, I think now it's much better. So, Lily, there are many people asking questions, but I would like to go step by step, and I have like a sequence of questions. I mean, let me just start with the first thing.
Okay.
English now. We're speaking about a specific language, not speaking about learning languages in general. Someone is saying your voice is being repeated.
Even now,
No, yours,
so
not mine.
mine.
Yeah,
I can change. I have another pair of headphones. I don't know if it's going to help. So, is it
I can
still
hear
a
you pretty
problem? Like,
well.
yeah, me too. I can hear me very well, and you, I hear you as well. So,
That's
okay,
okay.
guys. So let us know if there is a problem. If there is a problem still, so I will change the headphones.
It's good.
It's good
It's
right now.
saying it's
Okay,
good. It's good. Right.
excellent.
So, let me just start. We're speaking about a specific language now. We're speaking about English language. And people are asking or are wondering, is the English language that important? Everywhere in the world now, is the language that we need to communicate all over the world, is it really English? Or it's
Well,
just the media and stuff like that trying to tell us that, well, English and the economy and stuff like that, trying to convince us that English is the right choice, is the language that you can use to communicate all over the world. You've been to many countries in the world. Is that true? Is
well,
English understood everywhere in the world, or?
I didn't travel like that much as I really wanted, but I did travel a
Yeah,
little. So, but
but you
what I can
did.
say, yeah, what I can say that English is absolutely a must if you want to live a better life, I would say. I mean, of course, there are lots of people, they travel the world and they do not speak a word of English. And I ask them, like, how do you get around? It's so difficult. And they say, okay, we have a phone now, you have a Google Translate, and you don't need anything at all. But I will tell you that it's about the quality of your life. Always
Yeah.
the quality. You are not going to be able to negotiate some moments or in some situations, or do business, or change the jobs and get better payment if you don't speak English. So when you,
Yeah.
it's like, you need to get some skills in your life in order to succeed, right? So, and an English language is definitely that big step that is going to bring you forward. So only because if you speak English, you will be able to go to any country in the world and be comfortable there. Of course, not all people in the world speak English, but if you rent a hotel, you must speak English. Whatever
Yeah.
questions are going to appear there, you will be
It's
able to
everywhere in the
resolve
world.
them.
Everywhere.
Absolutely, absolutely. If you need to rent a house, and when you cross the borders, when you're on a flight, you need to speak English in order to resolve the problems. So, and the problems appear all the time. And I live here in Vietnam, and we have a very big Russian community around, and they keep
Excuse me,
asking me.
just Lily, just one. Someone is writing in the comment here. I just Excuse me for interrupting you. But he said, but we have Arabic is better than English. Now, please, guys, we are not doing a comparison of languages here. We're not saying that a language is better than another language, because I believe, and the truth is, there is no language that is better than another language. All languages are equal. Language is only a mean of communication. Now, if I say that English is important, is just because it is the way that many people can understand, or the language that many people can understand. So I want to master that language because it is used a lot, not because it is better. That's between quotes.
Absolutely. Yeah. It brings people together. So I don't know what I would do, like if I lived in China, for example, for 6 years and I didn't speak any English, I would have no friends, seriously, because like it's a huge international community and you're able to communicate with people from all over the world. From all over the world, you can make friends, and some very close friends who are still with me and we communicate all the time. They are as close as a family. So, and you can get some amazing job offers that you would not get if you don't speak English, because if you see, most international companies are not going to hire a person who doesn't speak a foreign language. They always need a person who speaks English. Whatever job you want to get, English makes you a kind of stand out from the crowd. So when they look through the resumes, right, and they say, okay, we have 10 applicants and they don't speak English and 1 applicant who does, who are they going to pick? The one who speaks English, of course, because it's a huge plus. It's like it's very important. I see people saying here that Chinese is the future, and Chinese language is the future. I will tell you, no.
Me too. I have the same opinion.
And I will explain, because I lived in China, and I will tell you what. I see lots of people going to China to get a degree in Chinese language in hope that they are going to get some really good job opportunities in the future. And I will tell you that Chinese people prefer to hire Chinese people rather than foreigners. And this is true. International companies prefer to hire some Chinese citizens who studied abroad and they returned back to China. And they will always have the preference. They will not be so eager to employ foreigners. But they employ foreigners if you are a very valuable asset. You speak English, you have a great degree, they will hire you because you are great. But the knowledge of Chinese language is not really bringing you something like some incredible opportunities. But English does. But English surely does. So I will tell you what. It depends what you want to get in life. What you want to get in life. If you really want to go into an international level, you will need English for sure, because most international companies work with English language. If you have preferences for other languages, for sure, learn other languages. If you want to go to live in France, learn French. How many countries speak French language? Well, not as many as English, for sure. For sure. If, for example, here, I live in Vietnam right now, and I would go and speak French with someone here, or Chinese, they wouldn't understand me. But if I don't speak English, they understand me. So that's how we compare. So, but of course, all languages are equal. It depends on what you are doing. If you are a teacher and you want to, you want to get great job offers, you will improve your pronunciation. You are going to get a better job. If you are, I don't know, if you are a pilot, speaking English is a must. You have to speak English. But of course, some people don't need to learn English, and that's okay. It depends on what you want in life.
Yeah, I agree. And one more thing, the English language is now, as you said, it's a must. And if you want working abroad now, we can speak about working abroad, working in any country in the world without knowing at least some basics of English. Now, I don't think that any company in the world will hire you or will even look at your resume if you have no English at all. So speaking also about academic research, speaking about university, college, all over the world now, many researches, even in France, even in Russia, I think, if you'd agree with me, are done in English, especially PhDs and the master degrees, they're done in English. Which means that this language is really the present, and I think it will be the future for a certain time. I don't think that the Chinese economy is growing and it's becoming powerful every day. But it's really hard to have English as the international language, like English, because as you know, for European, for example, they use Latin letters. Chinese, it has a different type of letters. So
Characters.
most languages in the world, or characters, most languages in the world now are using different characters, which means that it's really hard to have Chinese as the international language as English.
Absolutely.
So let's go directly to the question that I receive most of the time from the followers here. Actually, guys, the questions that you put in the question box, I'll be coming to those questions in the last 20 minutes of our live, and we will be answering, I would say, some of them, because there are too many questions as I can see here. Many people are putting questions. Thank you so much for your interaction. The first question. Well, beginners, they ask, we are new to this language. The only language that we know is Arabic. Most followers are Arab, so they're asking, we only know Arabic. We have no English at all. We can't understand, we can't speak, we don't know any vocabulary. We want to learn English. What is the best way to start? From where should I start? I mean, I'm confused. There are many resources. There are many people promising us to speak English, like, you know, those advertisements, they say speak English in 5 days or speak English in 10 days or something like that, which is most of the time lies and lies. So what is the right way? Where should I go? How should I start?
Okay, so I will tell you that there are many ways, and it depends on the person. That's why you choose a teacher. It's good to have a teacher, because teacher is going to make a curriculum according to your level and to your preferences and to the relevance of English in your life. Let's imagine you are a doctor. Do you really need to learn some really strange topics that are not related to medicine? Definitely not, right? So that's why you have a teacher. A teacher is going to help you to learn according to your aims. But if you don't have a teacher, and what I usually say, you must start with pronunciation, reading, the rules of reading and the sounds. That's where you start. So this is a kind of a background you need to get, and I will explain why. If you don't understand the rules of reading, okay, so you see the word and you just have no idea how to read it, you will go no further than that. Okay, you can use some flashcards and you see, okay, C-A-R makes a word car, and you will see another word with A-R. You will not know that it gives you the sound R. So when you learn these rules, it will be so easy for you to enlarge your vocabulary later. So you start with the rules of reading, and you work on your pronunciation as well. Why working on pronunciation is important? Because you will be able to understand the English speakers easier. So you will be able to listen to audiobooks, to some podcasts, and that will help you to speak fluently. You will also have some progress with communicating with people. So you will talk and people will understand you. If you don't work on your pronunciation, you will be discouraged from the start. You will say something, people will be like, what was that? I don't understand. And then you will feel like, oh no, I will never do that. English is too difficult. It's just you need to care about this background, the fundamental knowledge, and that is the sounds of English. So you start with alphabet, you start with syllables, you start with intonation, you start with rules of reading, and then you will see all these words, you will know how to read them, and it's going to be so much easier for you. After that, you will need to learn, you will need to widen your vocabulary. And that's when you will start. I think it's a good idea to buy some visual dictionaries, for example. I think they are very helpful. I had a visual dictionary myself. Visual dictionary, and it's usually that thick. And I had a visual dictionary with a pen. And that pen, when you touch a word in the book, it says it correctly in English. So it was fantastic. And it covers absolutely every area of your life. So you write down the words you need and you put the stickers all around your house. And then every time you pass by, you will say, okay, this is a sink and this is a tap and this is a mirror.
Excuse me, Lily, this you've mentioned like many stuff. I need to have some comments on this. You said that we need to start with pronunciation and we need to learn how to read. That means if we master reading Like you see a word, you know how to read it, then this is the good start. And then you move to alphabets and syllables and sounds and stuff like that. And then you move to vocabulary. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So some people, they start with vocabulary immediately without knowing how to read, or they just listen to vocabulary and they repeat it. Is that it? Isn't that good?
Well, in my personal experience, it doesn't work for most people. For most people, like my learners usually tell me, like, show me how to write it and I will remember. So there are some people, they are pure visual learners. They just need to see a picture one time, they're going to remember. So it's more complicated than it sounds, but we're all different, right? Some people learn better when they hear things. Some people learn better when they see things. Some people need to touch and do something. And if you know what kind of learner you are, you will be able to choose the best method of learning for yourself. But
Yes.
For most people, knowing alphabet and knowing the syllables and the sounds and stuff like that will give you a huge progress. You will start reading. If you don't know how to read, you will have no progress with anything, pretty much. Because
Yeah.
why? The best way of speaking like a native speaker, of being really fluent, is listening and reading at the same time. In my case,
Yes.
just 3 months of practicing this way, I was reading and listening at the same time, brought me to a completely different level. So if you take away the reading part from it, well, what are you going to do when you arrive in a foreign country? You go into the subway and you look at those letters and you understand nothing. You have to learn how to read first.
Yes. I agree.
Well, there are some people, maybe let's say children, our children, right? For example, I have a daughter, and of course she doesn't learn alphabet yet, but she, when I point at the cup, she says cup. When I point at the mirror, she says mirror. But
Reading,
we are not
no.
kids. Reading, of course not. She's 2 years old. So, but we're going to get there. So the same here. You can start, of course, just learning some words. You can start with learning some structures, but it will bring you no further. That's where you're going to stop. And then if you
some people they depend on memorizing phrases, memorizing expressions, memorizing vocabulary, and they say it works for them.
Absolutely.
At least to understand and to speak a little bit.
Yes, but that's what we're talking about. We're talking about a little bit.
Yeah.
But if you really want to speak like well, let's say there is no need to speak like a native speaker. But if you want to be fluent, if you want to be able to express whatever you have in your mind, then you will have to get to reading. And okay, writing probably isn't that necessary, but reading for sure. Reading is a must. So of course, yes, sure. You can start with pictures and simple structures. How are you? I'm fine, thank you. Where are you from?
Yeah.
I am from Morocco. Okay, you can do that.
That's what I know. But most of the curriculum now we have in Morocco, they start with these. They start with these basics express.
I will tell you that it's not only in your country. So I have students. I have 2 kids, 2 boys, and I started to teach them when they were 4 years old. They were really small, and now they're 11. So, when they started school at the age of 7, they brought me the school curriculums, their school books, and it gives them dialects. Hello, Min Min. Hello, Chow Chow. How are you? I'm fine, thank you. And they didn't teach any alphabet. So why do you print that book with all those words if your children do not know how to read? It's illogical. So then you need to erase completely the reading part from it. But it's impossible.
And especially if, for example, the case here in Morocco, we have English as not the second language, as the third language. Children, they start with French, and they learn the alphabets, how to read the alphabets in French. They learn French sounds. And after that, some teachers, they just introduce them to dialogues, as you said, to expressions, to phrases, which they just memorize, which they learn just by listening.
Well, it will do. Just like that, it will do. But you will have a moment when you will feel there is no progress anymore. You will memorize some topics, and that will be the end of it. And still, it's so impractical because in real life, you will need to read when you buy something, when you Google something, when you know how to write. Like, for example, right? In my case, I'm not translating anything in Russian anymore. So I divided these 2 languages in my head. English is a separate language, Russian is a separate language. I
Yes,
never
that's good.
translate. There is no
Yeah.
aim to translate. So if I spell the word, how am I going to find out the meaning of that word? We cannot simply erase that part.
Yeah.
So, as I told you about my students from China, they had a great progress at school simply because we started with alphabet. I started with alphabet. They were 4 years old. I taught them the ABCs. We learned about the rules of reading and stuff like that. And so by the age of 7, they went to school. They could read everything in the school books. Some other classmates, they did not have any tutors, and so they still don't understand what the heck is going on. So because now the book has more dialects, the book has more pictures, the book has more words and expressions, and they still didn't teach them any alphabet, and they just don't know how to read, and that's just a nightmare.
Yeah, that's really hard for them. So this is good at the start. You spoke about translation, and many people are struggling with this topic. Actually, they say, how can we stop translating our minds? Each time we want to express ourselves, we want to say something, we'll just go and borrow or take from them our mother tongue and put into English, which causes many problems. Actually,
that's true.
Big problems.
Big problems.
How can we overcome this, in your opinion? How can we overcome this?
Okay, so as far as you translate whatever you want to say from your language to English, you will fail a lot because all languages are very different, and simply the vision of the world in different languages is different. So if you keep trying, translate whatever it is you want to say in English, it's going to sound very strange. So the best way is to understand that this language is completely different. You don't need to compare it with your language, and you start reading. You start reading books, and whenever you see a new word, you use the dictionary, English dictionary.
Yeah.
Or you Google whatever it is you want to find. Okay, you see the word, okay, the wild boar. Okay, you Google wild boar. You'll see a picture of an animal, and then you're like, okay, now I know what it is. So that is the best way. At first, it's going to be incredibly hard, and I know what I'm talking about. So when I started, I had 3 months, and I started to read Harry Potter because I didn't know what else I'm going to be interested in. So when I started the first chapter, I read that much, and I tried to find the definition of every word in English, and I was like, oh my God, this is going to be so much work. Like every second word, I had to check in the dictionary. And when I would read the definition, there would be 10 more words. And I was like, I'm never going to
You get confused.
succeed.
Yeah.
You get confused. So I used Google, I used the pictures, but I still refused to translate it to Russian. And let's say one chapter, after one chapter, I felt like I do this. It works. It works. It totally works. You start getting the picture of the world around you in English. And it kind of, like right now, your native language and English might be, just, in a mixture in your head. But then after you try hard, it slowly starts dividing. And you start seeing the world in a different way, in an English way. Yes. But it needs some time. And, you have to overcome this fear of difficulties. It's going to be hard. But one chapter, and the second chapter is going to be a win. You're going to feel so much better. I have an English club where we do this, and first newcomers usually like, oh my God, it doesn't work for me, it's so hard. But use the pictures. Google whatever you don't understand, and it's going to work.
Yeah, sure. In my experience in class, actually, because I teach in classes and face-to-face, and most of the time, some teachers or other teachers, when they fail to explain a word in English or in a picture or something, they use an Arabic equivalent or another language equivalent or French equivalent to that word. Is this helpful for students, or should we try to find a way to explain it?
Well,
because after all, they will understand the word.
I would say that if you completely failed of explaining the word in English, your student still doesn't understand you. Then you'll try to show a picture. and it still doesn't work. Then you used your body language, you danced in front of your student and he still doesn't get it. Then of course use your mother tongue. Of course it's okay. But you give a chance. You give an English.
But don't make it a habit, because if we make it a habit, then it's gonna be the easiest way to explain it. And most teachers are like lazy to use their body language, to use pictures, to look for pictures and stuff like that.
It's hard, absolutely. So, but let's say I have two students. Those two students, they're both called Michaels, Michael and Michael, two Michaels. So one boy completely supported me on the idea of not speaking Chinese at all. So we don't speak Chinese at all. Another boy who started almost at the same time still kept coming to Chinese sometimes with me. So now I teach them for exactly the same amount of time. That boy who refused speaking Chinese with me now can read absolutely any book. He can read absolutely any word without a dictionary. And he is almost like a little native speaker, even though he's just 11 years old. And the other boy doesn't have that much progress because he still keeps coming to Chinese language. So I definitely see these two examples and I can say that it does work this way.
Sure, I agree. The same thing applies for movies. Some people, they prefer, they favor to watch movies with their language in the subtitles, which is like make them dependent on the subtitles and not paying attention to what the actors are saying. So this is great. Vocabulary, please. This vocabulary, we can't speak about any language because vocabulary is like the basic of any language. How can we deal with vocabulary? Do they come in the way? Is there a practical method, the practical way to learn vocabulary and avoid forgetting vocabulary all the time? Because we tend to learn vocabulary, but we forget it.
Absolutely, we keep forgetting.
Sometimes you read something and you say, well, this word, I've seen it before. Can't remember.
Absolutely, and why it happens, because what we learn is irrelevant. When we learn something that is relevant to us, when something we really need, we're going to apply it into our life right away. It's going to go to active vocabulary right away. So we have passive vocabulary and we have active vocabulary. The passive vocabulary is the one that we keep learning new words and then we forget them a week later. And that's passive vocabulary. When you read a book, you will say, okay, I saw that word before. It might mean that, but I'm not sure. And then the active vocabulary is the one that you use actively every day. So there you find most useful words for you. So how I deal with that, because that was my problem too. Reading a lot. I read and I listen to audiobooks, and then I find out I don't really learn the words by heart. I write them down sometimes when the word is really important for me. But when you keep reading, the same words keep repeating themselves all the time. And then after 2 or 3 times you need that in the story, you're going to remember it for sure. So it's the relevance. That's why I find that when people just sit in class and they have 10 or 15 words they're going to remember today, it's useless. The moment you leave the classroom, you're going to forget it. So, but when you read all the time, you need the same words. You're going to remember them for sure in a better way. Or I find that those visual vocabularies work. Although if you just open it and you look at it and then you close it and you put it away, you're going to forget most of what you learned. But if you put the stickers around the house, you keep looking at it and you just see 2 or 3 times, you're going to remember it for sure. So there are ways how you can, trick your brain. The brain is tricky. The key is to make information interesting for you and valuable, because our brain never forgets what's valuable. So if it's not valuable, it's going to just erase it.
Yeah, and for beginners, I usually tell them, go and learn vocabulary like related to each other. Don't pick up words like from different domains, from different parts. Like if you're learning vocabulary about living room, then pick up words that are related, okay? This helps you, like, even in your mind deals with these vocabulary like in a positive way. When you show your mind that these words, they have to do with school. So your mind will process this in a correct way. But if you learn vocabulary related to medicine, vocabulary related to technology, then you may remember some of them, you may keep some of them in your mind, but afterwards you'll lose most of them. So try to learn vocabulary related to themes, and I prefer this actually. You're learning about colors, learn about colors. Move to numbers, move to anything, okay? Good. Now, reading. You spoke too much about reading, and I can see that you're a great reader, aren't you?
I'm an avid reader.
Yeah, yeah. So, of course, you're not a beginner. Now, we're speaking about beginners. What can we read? This question, I think I get this question many, many, many times. What should we read? What should we pick up? We are beginners, and if you give us something that does not suit our level, you will like destroy us and you will break us. We will not understand anything and we will quit studying English. So what can we read?
For sure. Yeah. So for those who are really just started, there are some great books, like for example, English in Mind. And it's suitable for different language levels. So for example, if you are a beginner, you choose this like a yellow book. It's for beginners. It's level 1. And it has only the most simple stories that...
This question is related?
Can you provide us with some useful books that can help to...
It's related to what we're speaking about.
Yes. So I'm definitely a great supporter of an English in Mind. It's an Oxford book. Oh, sorry, no, Cambridge. Probably Cambridge, I'm not sure. So, but those books are great. Seriously, guys, if you find them, you can buy them.
English in Mind?
English in Mind. It's probably the best book I've ever found to teach beginners for sure. Beginners, intermediate, pre-intermediate level. So the stories are great. Stories are interesting. Vocabulary is useful. It is really useful. It's British English. It has audios that are fantastic. You just listen and read at the same time. It has some grammar as well, which is so useful because simply you cannot succeed if you don't learn grammar at all. But grammar is relevant. We were talking about relevance, right? So you have a story, and then this story is written, for example, in present simple. So in that chapter, in that module, you are going to learn present simple. And it's explained in such an easy way that it's definitely going to work for you. So I definitely advise you to read English in Mind. And you check, there are many levels. There are many levels. There are yellow book for the very beginners, then red book for the pre-intermediate, and green book for intermediate levels. So you just check them out, and they are great. I can't really find something better than that. And choose
English in Mind, guys.
English in Mind, guys. And keep to it. Just keep to it. Stop jumping from one book to another book, one curriculum, another curriculum, then this, I don't know, this worksheet, another worksheet. It's overwhelming. The consistency is the key to the fluency. Be consistent. If you choose one book, you keep to reading that book. Don't change. And you're going to see great results. It is available online.
Available online?
I'm not sure.
Maybe.
Because
I don't think so.
Maybe not. Maybe some.
Normally Oxford things and Cambridge things are not really available online.
But it's great because it has a student book, it has a workbook, it has teacher's book, it has absolutely all resources, one book for all needs. And it's so well made, it will cover all the needs for you, like colors, family members, most basic topics, introducing yourself, talking to people. They have dialect, they have conversational English there. Absolutely everything you need. Everything you need in just one book.
Sure. This question here, I usually get this question.
How long did it take to learn English?
Does it take to learn English?
Okay, so, well, I tell you, it takes years. It takes years for sure. You can't, if you see some advertisement telling you that you will speak fluently in 2 weeks.
In 3 weeks.
In 3 weeks, guys, they just lie to you and they want your money. So I will tell you that. In my case, I studied English at school. I didn't have much progress with it because the school curriculum was not perfect. So after what I've got from school, and that's the basic knowledge of grammar and reading and no speaking at all, then I spent 3 months just living abroad and talking to people. So I kind of broke that language barrier. And then another 3 months of really working to get that fluency. So that was half a year. But you have to know that I'm a teacher. So I've learned everything about English beforehand. So I knew English already, just didn't speak. So if you know English already and you want to be fluent, then 3 months, 6 months, maybe up to a year is enough. If you are a beginner, you be ready that it will take probably, well, a couple of years. I'm sure a couple of years to be fluent.
Yeah, and when I am asked this question, how does it take to learn English? I usually don't give any specific time for that. I just say, well, listen, everyone has his own way to learn a language. And we learn differently. You can expect yourself to learn English in 3 months just because someone else has done this. Your mind processes things differently. So you need to look for, even what we're saying now, you know, me and Lily now, we share what's in our mind. It means we tell you about our opinion. These are our experience, opinions, things like that, things that we have seen. But it doesn't mean that this is the absolute truth. Absolutely. Maybe other people will not use reading at all in learning, and they will learn because we have different learning styles. So try and find your way after.
Yes, and what I want to say is that when we learn, our brain needs some time to build neural connections, right?
Sure.
So you have to know that this is biological process. This is biology, and it doesn't happen just in 2 days, 7 days, or 2 weeks. It takes time. It will take time for your mouth to adapt to the way you pronounce the words. It will take time for you to, your brain needs time. I've seen people becoming, well, I will not say fluent in every topic. Like, what is fluent, right? Let's talk about what does it mean, fluency, right?
Yeah.
So I've seen people living in China for 1 year, going to university, language school, okay? And after a year of studying, they were fluent. They could speak about, they could go to the restaurant, order whatever food they want. They could make friends. They could discuss some subjects. But if they go to the hospital, they're going to be lost because they don't know that vocabulary. If we
That's fluency.
That's fluency, right? So you can communicate, but it's not about every topic in the world.
Yes.
Even teachers do not speak about everything. Like I teach psychology, so I can talk about psychology with you. But if you ask me about some biochemical science, I just don't know those words and I don't understand it. So what is fluency for you guys? You need to know what kind of results you want to get. And then the teacher is going to tell you how long approximately it's going to take you. But you will need to know that you will need to be constant in what you do. You will have to take classes. You will have to learn. Not like I opened the book in a few minutes and I forgot about it.
Yeah, that's the problem of goals. Sometimes to say that I want to learn English, this is actually a very broad goal. You need to be specific. What do you want exactly in English? Do you want just like to read and understand? Do you want to use it in your studies? Do you want English for your work at the office to communicate with your colleagues and stuff like that? Do you need it for tourism? You want to go and visit countries abroad and communicate with people? So be specific about your goal, because if you're not specific, any result you reach, any result, you will not be satisfied. Absolutely. You will say, well, I didn't learn anything. Just because you've spoken to someone and you got blocked on a specific topic, but that doesn't mean that you do not speak English. It means that you are unable to have conversation on some topics, and this is the case actually for everyone. Even native speakers now, if you speak to them about topics that are related to something like space or
they are not going to tell you anything.
Yeah, for sure. And if they read an article about biology, they will not understand. If they are not majoring in biology, they will understand nothing. So be specific in your goal. Yes,
absolutely.
Yes, sure. Yeah, I agree. Lily, we've got I think we've got just 10 minutes or something. Actually, the discussion with you is really great, and I hope that we have more time. Actually, we've got more 10 minutes. I would like to ask you, this question actually is driving me crazy because I receive it most of the time.
Wow, okay.
And where is it? This question? It's about this question, this famous question.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, what's the difference between British accent and American accent? Okay. So, guys, now you have to know, there is a thing I want to tell you, that
there is one English, first of all.
There is one English, okay?
One English, yes.
Lots of accents. Lots of accents. Accent does not matter. We all have accents, and that's okay. When we talk about British English, it means people who live in the UK, and you must know, you certainly, in the UK, there are 37 or more than 37 dialects and accents. So which exactly do you mean right now?
Yeah.
So when we really
British
talk about,
is like,
when we talk about American accents, in America, in the United States, there are more than 120 accents. People speak differently in every state. Moreover, there are so many migrants, they come from different countries, they speak with their own accent, and there is nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. So when we talk about British accent and American accent, when we talk about British accent in particular, usually people talk about South British accent. So it's people who work in BBC, right? They speak usually with the Southern accent, but there is Scottish accent, there is Irish accent, there is Welsh accent, there are so many accents. So if you really want, you have to know about that. So the biggest difference, of course, is the way they say the sounds, right? So in British English, Brits like to, well, they don't say all the sounds. Like, for example, we say car in British accent, and in American accent, it will sound like car. Yes. Right? So, but it's not the only thing you have to know, because in different countries, people use different words to describe one thing. Let's say in the UK, people would say lift. In the United States, people would say, the elevator, right? So people will use different words, pants and trousers. So the word use is different, right? So, but I still think that people worry about accents too much. These accents are different, but it doesn't really matter. If your pronunciation is good, it will be understood everywhere in the world. You need to work on a good pronunciation, not British or American. So I've
because if you change, sometimes that's this example. If you change like this word, if you pronounce it car or car, that is understood both ways. So but if you pronounce it like care, that's a problem.
Well, that's a problem, so absolutely.
You need to focus on the pronunciation. That's what matters.
Yes, exactly. They don't say R, but it's not the only thing. There are other things as well. But it's true that Brits just, they swallow lots of sounds. They just don't say all of them. And that's beautiful. And that's not only it's not the only thing. So they also have a different melody to the way they speak. The intonation is very different. So when you hear the sound of the language is very different. So they also put, when they say P or T sounds, they really breathe out, right? So we say pocket. Well, in American English, we'll get a pocket, right? Or pocket, right? When in British English, it will sound like pocket. It will be tea. Tea. I don't know how to say it in American accent. How do you say the word tea? Like a cup of tea.
Tea.
Tea. Okay, so in British accent, it's more like tea. So they breathe out. The puff of air comes out. So there are lots of like these tiny things. So if you really want to go into this, you will have to learn. Yeah, I do that in my English club. We work on a British accent and I explain all about it. But I always tell that the most important thing is a good pronunciation. And everyone around the world will understand you. That's so much more important.
Yeah, so pronunciation actually is, sometimes it's important for, I would say for, at least for teachers. You mentioned at the beginning in China. Now, if you have a like native accent, they will treat you in a different way, even if you are a non-native.
That's what I heard. More money.
Yeah, you're gonna get more money as well.
Motivation.
Yeah, sure. You're gonna get more money, and if you are a native speaker, that's another topic. They will hire you just because you are a native speaker. They don't care about Do you have like certificates, teaching certificate, TEFL or anything? All they care about is that you have blonde hair and you're like, you have an accent. So the accent is important, but just in some cases, not for everyone.
That's true.
It depends. But for English learners, for everyone who wants to learn English, what is important is that you focus on being understood and understanding people. That's what you're going to need. Well, Lily, thank you so much for this great live. It's been like very, very, very useful. Actually, it's one of the lives I enjoyed, actually, the last lives I did.
Thank you.
And it was pretty good meeting you here and having this nice discussion. And people, or the followers here, are very excited. And some of them, they follow the live from the beginning to the end, and which is pretty great. Which shows that they are interested in learning English. And guys, this is it. I invite you to go and check Lily's account. She's making, or she makes live videos, and she makes videos about learning English. So go and check her account and follow her. Do you have anything to say, Lily?
Yes, well, I see people here asking the last minute questions about how to think and speak in English, and I will just say the last advice that, guys, if you don't read, it's not about watching films. It's really have nothing about watching films. If you don't read, you will never get to that level when you will be able to think in English. But if you read a lot, you read and listen at the same time, you will see in a matter of a month or two how great your English is going to become. This is the best bit of advice I can give you, because I'm an example of how it works. So guys, listen and read, and don't give up.
Yeah, sure. Lily, we will go again live, of course, next time.
For sure, for sure.
For sure, yes. We'll go live on a different topic. Maybe we'll speak about another topic on your account or on mine. Thank you so much for this great live. I'll save this live and I'll tag you in the story if you want to share it with your followers. And people go and join Lily in her account, follow her. Thank you so much for joining us, for interacting with us, and have a nice day. Thank you.
See you. Bye.
Goodbye.